What's up, everybody? It's Monday. It's the best day of the week. When you're on YouTube, it's the best spec and trending show, live and in color and all that fun stuff. You know, everybody likes to say that they're the best show. I think we're the best show. I'm just saying that. You know what I'm saying? Because everybody else is like to say it, but I think we work the hardest.
Well, I mean, you definitely work the hardest.
I need your love. Let's take a moment. The third day best of the week. I love it. Let's take a moment and say what's up to the people in the chat. We're going to start it off with Christina Payne, who has kicked it off and reminds everybody to She-Hulk smash the thumbs up or thumbs down, whatever you want. It's how you feel about it. Our boy here, Shane, is here. 1063 Comics. I heard you got a nice little stack of books that you just opened up. Is that true?
Yeah, so I have the link. I'll post in a little bit, but I met up with Chris. He recorded part of the video, then I recorded part, and I came back here and opened up 25 more slabs. So it is an epic video. It is very long, people, but it is worth it.
We got Nerdy Geek saying hello, Shane, Izzy, Christina. This is meant to all three of you in no particular order. The world has become a vampire and I am ready to slay it all. Good for you. Good for you. And there we go. Kenneth Burr, what's going on, Kenneth Burr? How you doing, my friend? We got Aggressively Relaxing, who's also watching. Joffrey Castro's in the house as well. And E-Man, my man, I haven't seen you in a bit, man. Good to seeing you. What it do, comic fans? That must be like, you know, so that's like West Coast slang when people say what it do, because we don't say that over here.
Yeah, I've never heard that either.
Like I've heard it from plenty of people from the West Coast, so I want to know if that's a thing, E-Man, if you're still watching, because you know how some people, they come in, they leave the comment, and they're out. Some people do that. Some people like to stick around. I prefer if you guys stick around. It helps me out, helps the algorithm, which reminds me of a couple of things. Did I do what I was supposed to do? Let me see. Yeah, now I'm a little concerned. Because the thing is that
algorithm to your will.
Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing that drives me crazy sometimes. YouTube, when you make a lot, yeah, there it is. Bam. There we go. Now we got to fix that problem. Okay, problem solved. So YouTube has this really weird thing where when you create a live stream, it does you can't do the monetization until you go in and actually turn it on.
Oh, that's good to know.
If more people are watching this show live, I want that, right? Because I can't just go back and say there's no backtracking. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can't backtrack. You can't say, hey, let me turn it back on now. So now I turned it on. So monetization is now on for me. So I could get you guys some cool stuff when we do giveaways. All right. And E-Man just told me that's a Bay Area thing. That's what I thought. Right. We got Hazu also in the house. What's going on? We got a lot of stuff to cover with. We got 18 people watching right now. We're gonna do some things pretty much the same, but we're gonna try to minimize a little bit some of the chat during the top trending. And the reason why is I have to go to the office tomorrow. Usually I edit my videos on Tuesday in the morning so they could be up and loaded for the replays, for anybody who wants to see the replays, and for those people that just want to see certain segments. I don't have a lot of time to do that tomorrow, or if I do it, I have to do it tonight. But I got to go to bed early tonight. So I'm going to keep it nice and simple. You know what I'm saying? Jay knows the way. What's up? All right. So carbon dioxide is also in the house. Oh, now everybody's coming here. Dirty South Collector. What's going on? That's a Detroit hello. Oh, give me your wallet and car keys now. That's also a New Jersey thing. New Jersey is notorious for hijacking. I know that much. All right. But it is, if that's what you want to call it, carbon dioxide, you got it. All right. So we're going to be doing that. I'm definitely going to use a chat However, I want to just keep it minimal for just a little while, and then we're gonna go right back to it for everything else. But for trending, we're gonna keep the chat to a minimal, so I don't have to worry about the editing portion of it. But you are always welcome to chat in the comments. I'm not telling you can't. I'm just gonna respond to them afterwards in a certain time frames. Okay. So with that said, we got a very interesting week of trending comics because we're just fresh off of C2E2. So therefore, the Comic Heat Index, we had some last minute additions, and we're gonna see what they are, and they're fire. This week's top trending comics for the second week of April 2025. We got a lot of new books, a lot of new additions that just came in over the weekend. And the reason why they came in over the weekend is because there was a little convention called C2E2, which stands for Chicago Comic and Entertainment Expo. Therefore, the C2E2. That's how they got the name. It is a Read Pop convention. So they're the same convention people that do New York Comic Con, and they do it there. It's one of the bigger shows. I'm going to say it's part of the top 4. Top 2 being New York Comic Con and San Diego Comic Con. Those are the big 2. And then you got MegaCon and C2E2. Dare I say C2E2, I think, is a very close number 3. What's your thoughts on that?
I've never been to Comic-Con in the States, so I would love to go to one. I was kind of hoping to go to Heroes Con, but it just isn't going to work out this year. But I'd love to see one, but I don't know too much about American ones, just that the names are always in the media, and San Diego and C2E2 and Heroes seem to be mentioned a lot.
Yeah. Heroes Con, I want to call it a big show, but it's not in the same. I don't call it a big show in the same way those other 4 are. Those other 4 are more pop culture shows, where Heroes Con is more for the comic book person, the comic book enthusiast, as ChatGPT likes to call us.
Yeah.
So what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at a lot of those books, but here you have 4 books. Now, what's really cool about these 4 books is that they're varying covers, some older books here, and some heat. So, as always, what's your thoughts on the 4 you see right now?
Well, I actually went looking for that White Rabbit one. The comic store didn't have it, of course, because it's already too late for that. But I did find the trade of it for like $5 or $6 at Ollie's, all the issues.
Ooh.
And it looks really good. I flipped through it. I didn't buy it though, but I did flip through it. The Century, I was never, like, my Century knowledge is not what it should be. Like, I've never really been interested in that character. Helverine, no, I did buy that book, and it was super hard to get almost immediately. So it'll be interesting to see what happens to that over the next couple of weeks. And then Mary Jane, I mean, I wish I could get that. I wish I could get that cover. That's a good cover.
It is a good cover, man. So that's how she looks inside the costume.
Yeah.
So let's take a look at our honorable mentions. I put 3 honorable mentions. Reasons being is because each one of them has some significance that are going on. Let's start with that first one, which is Marvel Rivals number 1. This is the C2E2 Trinity Comics Peach Momoka variant. Now, the one that you're currently seeing right now is the version variant. There is also a trade dress variant of it. The book in itself sold really well. It wasn't enough to make the top 10, but it's enough to be an honorable mention. So what's your thoughts on that one?
Yeah, well, I mean, the Rivals thing, we're going to get into it in a little bit, but still hot, and they have a whole other announcement because they're doing the same thing that Fortnite does. So it's released in seasons, and the next season is all of the Hellfire Gala. My kid was actually telling me about it. He told me about some other character that's in it that I didn't know about. So and Love Everlasting, don't know much about that. And a third one, I don't even know what that one is.
Yeah, so let's go ahead with Love Everlasting. Love Everlasting is it's kind of an anthology series, but it's not at the same time. But it is a set of stories told by Tom King. That it's an independent book from Image Comics, and it came out several years ago. However, the reason why it's an honorable mention is that it's in the top list for a lot of the for CBSI as well as Key Collector. It just wasn't enough to make it to this list because the reality of it is the sales are low, but
Yeah.
it was enough to be a top 10 contender for their list. And the reason why is that it is Tom King, as I told you, it is an homage to romance comics, but there's a twist to the story as well. And like I said, it's an anthology series, but it's not because all those stories are connected in some way. So I want you to think about those rom-coms movies that come out, like Valentine's Day or New Year's Day, where it tells different stories from different angles, from different characters, but it's all part of one connecting story.
Yep.
That's what this is. And
Wow.
it was just option. So therefore, being that it was just optioned, poof, instant top 10 list.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. The last book on our list is it's a connecting cover. And if you look at it, it's a G.I. Joe book. And with this G.I. Joe book, this is G.I. Joe Jinx #1. It's not so much that it's G.I. Joe Jinx, it's because it's a connecting cover. And right now we're on letter I.
Yeah.
So take a wild guess which other letters are supposed to come with it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I is going to be the hardest. There's a G somewhere. I don't know which one's G. But there is a G, and I believe the last part's going to either be the rest of the letters or it's going to just say the word Joe. I'm not 100% sure, but because of that, these books, people are going to start hunting these books down so they can have a whole collection of books. So it's kind of like Marvel Rivals in the way that people are just connecting because it's a Marvel Rivals thing. It's actually people want to connect the covers. That's that's the whole thing with this book. So those are your 3 honorable mentions. Everlasting Love we might see next week. We might even see the Peach Momoka. I'm not sure so much about the G.I. Joe, but we might see the other letters pop into the list sooner or later as they come along. So let's go ahead into our next book, which is number 10. And it's the start of our list with Mark Spears Monster number 4. This is the 2025 C2E2 Comic Tom limited to 200 copies variant. This book came out this week for King Spot, and last recorded sale is $210 near mint. Fair market value of this book is $215. There are no slabs. Came in number 4 for cover price. The sales volume of this book is 12 sales. The hype level is a medium. Before I even say anything to you or even ask for your opinion about this book, I'm going to let you in on something that happened over the weekend. Over the weekend, this book was being sold through Whatnot, and the prices were going to $500, even at one time $1,000, I think, for the Virgin variant of this book. I know nothing about the Spiral Man. All I know, it's a Mark Spears cover. All I know is I'm at this point where I'm just done with Mark Spears covers. Especially, it's not an homage in the traditional sense, but it's obviously homaging the pre-horror comics because of the background. Now, let me hear your thoughts.
I still like the Mark Spears covers for sure, and you can tell that there's still an appetite for them. Obviously, if those are the prices on Whatnot, when you put, I think there's still a tendency for, if you've got a limited print run and you've got Mark Spears, you've got people interested. That's why we usually see the ratios have a little bit more of an uptick than usual, and then the regular just DC covers that he's been doing, don't seem to be hitting as well. And part of that, we've talked about it briefly, is like, if you take that Green Lantern cover as an example, I just didn't think it was as good as this cover is. This cover is much better than that one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think the part of it, like you said, the DC covers are not hitting it in the same way. It's because of their universal monster appeal. That's the bottom line. I think he also has a little more freedom when it comes to the monsters because it's at his will. It's also usually an homage, right? I'm going to say 90% of the work he's been showing is an homage to something, where these other ones aren't really homages. The Spawn is not an homage. The DC books are not homages, with the exception of the Superman Flash, but that one didn't even really gain any traction
Yeah,
or
which
anything
I
like
really
that.
like that cover. I thought that one was
I like that cover too. I like the way it looks. I like its sensibility. I like how it kind of feels like a Saturday morning magazine feel to it, if you know what I mean.
yeah.
Um, so there you have it, guys. Mark Spears Monsters #4. Moving on to #9. And that's Amazing Spider-Man 238. This book came out in 1982 from Marvel Comics. Last recorded sale was $320 at a 9.2. Fair market value of this book is $218 at a very fine. $507 at a 9.6 is the average. On the trending list, it was #6 for CBSI. Sales volume, 48 sales have occurred this month in the last 30 days, and hype level of this book is at a medium. This book is on this list for two reasons. Reason number one, Amazing Spider-Man #1, the relaunch book that just came out, features Hobgoblin, so there's some interest in Hobgoblin. Reason number two, there's also speculation that we are going to get Hobgoblin in the next Spider-Man movie in some capacity.
I love this cover. I have this book. It's in a little bit rough shape. It's the Canadian price variant, though. I'd love to get a better copy. There's a copy at a shop I go to that's on the wall that I always stare at. Um, it would be cool. I mean, if you're reading Amazing Spider-Man right now and you're hoping for good things from Hobgoblin, I've got my fingers crossed along with you, I'd say. But to see him in a movie would be really cool if they did it right. Like,
Mhm.
kind of tell the story like this, like kind of keep his identity secret. That would be cool.
What we know about Ned Leeds is Spider-Man's best friend in the movie, and we know he leads into becoming one of the Hobgoblins. This is probably the perfect opportunity for them to actually have him become the Hobgoblin when he's expressed interest in becoming the Hobgoblin. The actor, can't remember his name off the top of my head, but he's expressed interest to becoming the Hobgoblin. Now,
Yep.
how they're gonna make it work, I don't know. But if you're gonna do it, now's the time. I can't see Mr. Negative being the main villain. I'll be very honest. He's not a well-known villain.
Yeah. They did have the one line in the movie that Ned says to him about, "Don't worry, I won't become your arch nemesis," or whatever the line was. That
Yeah.
made me laugh, and it insinuated that, hey, we know that he's the Hobgoblin in the
Mhm.
comics. So
Yeah, exactly. So that's #9. Let's take a look at our next book, which is #8. All new Venom #5. This is the John Tyler Christopher 2025 C2E2 Venom Black Foil variant. This book came out in 2025 this week from Marvel Comics. $59 in near mint was the last recorded value, which is also the fair market value. There are no slabs since the book just came out. It's #6 in cover price, and it has a sales volume of 40 sales. And the hype level is high. This cover, again, what you see on the screen doesn't do justice, because this is definitely going back to what he did with Daredevil a few months ago with New York Comic Con. He did it again, but this time with utilizing the real Venom, by the way. And we'll see all new Venom #5 a couple of times on this list, unfortunately. But you look at this, you kind of have a sensibility of how it looks like. What's your thoughts?
I'd love to see this one in person. He was kind of showing off this cover on Instagram, and it's really hard to get an idea what it looks like unless you see it in person. It's one of those covers. So hopefully somebody will post a good video of it that really shows it off. But I love his art. So
Mhm. And you know what? For $60, it really isn't a bad price right now, even though I do think it's going to probably go up a little bit. Um, Give it time to rest, and then the price will drop down. The Daredevil one is amazing, and he's utilizing the same kind of techniques that he did in the Daredevil for this one. And that's so now you're expecting a set to happen. He did Daredevil. He's just done Venom. The next question, who's going to be the next character?
Yeah.
You know? So be on the lookout for all new Venom number 5, the John Tyler Christopher Venom Black Foil Venom. It is not the only John Tyler Christopher Venom number 5 that we're going to have on this list. So there's your heads up there. A little spoiler. Number 7. Back is Absolute Batman number 1 for 2024. DC Comics. Last recorded sale was $25 near mint. The fair market value of this book is now $32. 9.8s are going for $95. It came in number 3 in Key Collector, and it's still a hot selling book with 120 copies being sold in the last 30 days. That puts this hype level as a high because of that sales volume. But we've talked about Batman, Absolute Batman, for quite some time. What makes you think that this is back on this list? For what reasons would you say makes this return?
Yeah, I don't know. Like the excuse me, the 120 sales, that's really good. Maybe it's the start of the new arc and people are jumping on it and trying to go back and get those first issues. It could be, you know, there's kind of more absolute stuff out there. So people that might have missed it, that have gotten the first issue of, say, Martian Manhunter and Flash and Wonder Woman are like, hey, I'm just going to get that book. So.
Yeah, and I think it's still attainable right now. It's not to the point that it's too far off that you can't grab a copy. You know, there are over 400,000 copies of this book. And as you and I pointed out when we go over the slabs, a lot already been slabbed. So this book is getting picked up. $25 now is to me is high, being that there's more copies out there. You could probably get this for a good $15 now, I would say. So, you know, don't go. My personal opinion, don't go spending more than $25 on this book, but you could probably find this book at a good $15. If you're trying to get a slab, however, you might want to be cautious about that too. So, because there's a lot of slabs of this book.
Yeah.
Okay. Number 6, Batman The Dark Knight number 3. This book came out in 2011 for DC Comics. The last recorded sales was $17 at a very fine. Fair market value is actually $6 at a fine, while the only real recorded sale of a slab that's out there is a 9.2 going for $50. I'm assuming there's more 9.8s out there, but this book is hot because it's on a trending list for Key Collector number 9. For CBSI, it's number 2. For CovrPrice, it's number 8. The sales volume, however, I'm going to say it's low with 44 sales for the 30-day period. So therefore, that hype level has to be medium for this book, even though people are getting ready. We talked about this book last week when we were talking about honorable mentions. I did mention that this book was going to somehow make a return. And here it is, this one. Let's talk about the White Rabbit.
Yeah, and I remember this character showing up in one of the Batman arcs that I read. I don't think I checked, and I don't have this one. But like I said earlier, I did find this at Ollie's in the trade. Tried to get it from the comic shop, excuse me, and they didn't have any. But it's Finch art, like through the whole thing. It looks great.
Another book that people are starting to gravitate towards is the Art Germ cover. And I think it's a Batman and Robin book. I don't remember off the top of my head which book is it. Somebody could let me know in the chat or the comments. But there is an Art Germ cover which is stunning.
Yeah.
It's probably one of the best works he's ever done. And that one is going to be hunted down if it hasn't already started to be hunted down, just because of how stunning that cover is.
Yeah, it's a good looking cover. I actually have that one. It is Batman and Robin Volume 3, number 1, cover H.
So it is issue 1. I might have it as well. I'm thinking about it. I might actually have it because it's not that old. It's fairly new. Just in time for the holiday season. Who would have guessed it? When we're talking about White Rabbit and comic books, we're not talking about the Easter Bunny, guys. So Batman The Dark Knight number 3 came in at number 6. Let's see what came in number 5. and that is The Century #1. This book came out in 2000, Marvel Comics. Last recorded sale of this book was $300 and 9.8. Fair market value of this book is $100 near mint. For the raws, $337 for a 9.8. So whoever got that sale for $300 actually got a pretty good sale. Trending list, it's a number 4 for Key Collector, number 5 for CBSI. It's not on CovrPrice. However, it is in their top 20. The sales volume is 28 sales. Hype level of this book is high, and the reason why it's high is because of the Thunderbolts is less than a month away. In fact, it is about 2 to 3 weeks away.
Yeah, I can't wait to see that movie because, like I said, The Century, I don't really have a lot of knowledge. He was in one arc of a book I was reading, but other than that, like I really never got into his stuff. So I'm looking forward to kind of seeing what they do with the character and hearing whether it's accurate or not.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so the concept of The Century is it's really cool how they kind of brought him up. First of all, what Paul Jenkins and Jay Lee did was they started this little marketing campaign over at Marvel that The Century was a forgotten superhero. That's how the marketing campaign began, even to the point that they even got Stan Lee to be part of the gag, right? Which was all a hoax, really, to state that this character was created before the Fantastic Four. That's what they were trying to go off. But what it really was that forgotten superheroes, forgotten Silver Age superhero. And the reason why he's forgotten is because he's also a bit of a schizophrenic, and he has multiple personalities. The multiple personalities, however, you have one side that's the Century, which is the superhero, which is a la Superman. But then on the other side is you have the Void, and that's the villain. And we're going to see both versions of the Century, the Void and the Century, within the Thunderbolts movie. In the last trailer, they kind of revealed the Void, but they did a black silhouette. Yeah. So you didn't get to see what he looks like. I hope that's normal, to be honest with you, because I kind of like the idea of him being just this black silhouette. But with that being said, the Century is a character that is gaining momentum, gaining traction. People are getting ready for the Thunderbolts movie. I do believe we're going to see this book again next week.
Yeah, I think so too.
Mm-hmm. All right. Let's take a moment now to say what's up to people in the chat. And let's see how far back I went.
And if you want, Izzy, I sent you a picture of that cover.
I did. I see it. I see it right now. All right. So, Hazu, I found that the White Rabbit book recently, and it was, congratulations, man. That's good. I don't know about Helverine. Helverine it's a fun book. That's how I look at it. It's kind of like, it kind of hides in the shadows of Wolverine, of course, because Wolverine's out there in like multiple titles. But it's not Wolverine, it's Helverine, which is a different thing. And now that we're getting Hell Hulk, you know that battle's going to happen. So be on the lookout for that one. A boring honorable mention, go back to White Rabbit. We did. What is up, Matt? Heroes for Hire Comic Club. How's it going, my man? Let's see here. Yo, Joseph, gotta love Michigan, bro. Finally a good weather day, man. Yeah, it is actually nice. I got a set of the Psylocke. Congratulations, Nerdy Geek. Tom King is a soy boy. Yeah, most people, they're not big fans of Tom King's work. He has some pretty solid stories. His Wonder Woman right now is probably one of the best stories in comic books.
And Vision was amazing.
Right? What the F and why? He's actually referring to Mark Spears' Monster and knowing the prices that this is what Whatnot does, guys. Whatnot has this tendency, if you are a hot Whatnot channel, you could oversell your books. Let's call it what it is. The reality of it is that because it's a bidding war, books go higher than what they're actually worth. And this one went up to like $500, $1,000 because people just wanted to grab those books. So I wouldn't have done it. That's kind of one of the reasons why I kind of stopped Whatnot myself. If I want to buy something from Whatnot, I'll go to one of the smaller guys that I don't have to worry about a price being overpriced. Right? My friend grabbed multiple copies of that. I'm assuming it's the Mark Spears Monsters. So what's going on, Lisa? Thanks for coming by. Let's see. I liked his covers, but they're not. They're, oversaturation. When you get too much of something, it starts losing its luster. That's my feeling towards that. You know what I mean? And his cults like fans are the reason enough to not to buy. And I love Spears. It's just he's the hot thing right now. People are going crazy just buying Mark Spears stuff. It's good. It might take a little while to cool off. I think it is starting to cool off, but then again, something just pops up like this, and especially when those, like the Comic Toms and those guys start picking up on that, they're gonna bleed it out. That's how I look at it. You're just gonna bleed it out until it's over. So more power to them too for doing that. You know what I mean? They're trying to make money. It's business, right? There's that sexy honey bunny. Oh my goodness. What's up, Tony? Hey, Tony, my man. Comic Verse, how you doing, my man? All right. Hey, Walmart Tony. Oh man. Hey, I actually have that art germ fall. Yeah, the art germ fall is nuts, man. Let's see. Life feels whatnot go crazy. Yeah, carbon dioxide. You got it. It's like there's something when you have a large group of people in a whatnot. There's this FOMO buying that happens, and that is dangerous because people are overspending on books that are not worth it. You get what I'm saying? $1,000 for a Mark Spears comic? I don't think so. That's my personal opinion. I'm sorry. Izzy, are you saying I should sell my marks? I'm not selling you. I'm not saying you should sell it. What I'm saying is don't overpay for it. You get what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying. Okay. All right. So moving on. Let's go to number 4, and that is Amazing Spider-Man 546. This book came out in 2008 from Marvel Comics. Last recorded sale of this book was $15 near mint. Fair market value of this book is $32 near mint. $187 for 9.8. That actually went up several dollars. Trending list, it's only on CBSI at number 7, but the sales volume is high at a 30-day sales of 191 copies of this book. Therefore, the hype level is high. This is one of the highest selling books this month. So, has a high hype level. So, brand new day. We talked about it last week. First appearance of Mr. Negative.
Yeah, brand new day. The name, whatever. I don't know, Izzy. This whole Amazing Spider-Man thing. I think Mr. Negative would be a cool on-screen villain. He could look really neat. So that part I do really like that this book is going up, and I own this book, so that's good too. Mm-hmm. But this storyline, I mean, it's down in infamy basically. So one more day, brand new day, all kind of the same. But I think if anything good came out of it, Mr. Negative is a cool character.
Yeah, Mr. Negative to me, and I'll say this again, I don't consider him top tier villain. I consider him a second tier villain. I agree. I think he'll look really cool on screen, but that's about it. I want to see the other guys. I want to see the other villains. I want to see Hobgoblin. I want to see the characters that I haven't seen before, but I want to see the top tier villains. You know what I'm saying? And the thing is, we're at a point that we've seen a lot of them already, right? We've seen most of them, but I want to see the new Green Goblin. I don't want to see William Dafoe Green Goblin. I want to see this MCU version Green Goblin, right?
Yeah.
I want to see a new version of Sandman. I want to see I want to see some characters, but we're at that stage already that we've seen a lot of the Rhodes Gallery, right? It's a shame that Rhino showed up in the wrong movie, and the same thing with Kraven. Yeah. But what I want to see is I really want to see them built to the real Sinister Six, which is something Sony always wanted to do in the first place. They just don't know how to do it right. Just read a comic. That's how you figure it out.
You can't have these secondary Spider-Man characters be in a movie with no Spider-Man. You have to at least have a little bit. You could do like a really good origin, like Craven origin story, and somehow tie it in and build each movie as like like they did with the Netflix shows and then had the Defenders show.
Mhm.
Do a similar type of thing as that, but you got to have, if you're going to have Doc Ock, you've got to have Spider-Man. It's the same, like you're going to have Madam Web, you got to have Spider-Man.
Yeah, that didn't go anywhere. Well, you had
No.
Spider-Man as a baby, if I remember. So with Madam Web.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. All right, moving on. Amazing Spider-Man 546. That was number 4. At number 3, we're back to Venom. All new Venom number 5, the one per store Clinton Crane suspect surprise variant. This book came out in 2025 for Marvel Comics. Last recorded sale of this book is $50 near mint. Fair market value of this book is at $54 near mint. There's still no recorded slabs. And the trending list is only number 8 on CBSI. Checked out the sales volume, 30-day sales, 240 copies have sold. That puts this on a hype level of high. For people that don't like this storyline or this concept, there's a lot of books being sold. What's going on here?
Well, people love Mary Jane. So
they love Venom. They just don't like Mary Jane being Venom.
Yeah. Not at least permanently. I thought it was cool at different points. I think like everybody did, just like in the Venom movie when when Venom takes over Anne, I thought it was great because it's just a cool idea. But Mary Jane's just not being written very well right now. That's what it all comes down to, unfortunately. But I did see a copy of this in a local shop near me for $50 Canadian. So
yeah, I had a copy, as you know. I easily sold it. My whole purpose for getting it was to flip it because I already knew the hype. I had no desire for it, to be honest with you, and it paid off for my books for the week. So that's what I did with it. It's not a great cover, to be honest, either. It's like Clayton Crane has done some amazing covers. This isn't one of them.
Yeah, I agree.
So I like to say this is the last time we see this book, but it probably won't be. And it's not the last time we see this title because it's the very next book on Venom number 5. This is the John Tyler Christopher C2E2 Mary Jane negative space variant. This book came out this week. Last recorded sale is $189 near mint. Fair market value of this book is $136. No recorded slabs. Number 1 in cover price. 30-day sales volume is 124 titles sold this week. That was over the weekend, guys.
Yeah.
Hype level is a high. Okay, because we've been talking a lot about this all new Venom crap, right? This is a gorgeous cover. That's it.
Oh, yeah, 100%. And, if you were going to have a cover with Mary Jane being Venom on it, like this is much better than the last one.
I don't know how much of a negative space cover would you call this.
The sunglasses are.
And the edge of the spider's legs.
Yeah.
But $189? Seriously?
Yeah. I'll be patient on this one. It'll come up and be for sale. Because I'm gonna guess that there must be at least 1,000 copies of this, if not 3. If it's
usually it's about 5. They'll tell you. This one didn't really say how many copies they were. They usually tell you what's the limited, but that's the thing with these cons. So C2E2, San Diego, New York Comic Con, MegaCon, when they drop these variants, these are usually retailer variants. When they drop these variants, they usually have a low print run to them. Like you said, 1,000 is probably the highest you're going to get. And they're being sold for 40, 30, depending on the style. Like if it's a foil, it'll be like 40. If it's like a standard variant, it'll be like 30. Sometimes you could get lucky and get them for like $20. right? So they never sell for $5.99 or something like that.
Yeah.
They sell for 20, 30, 40, 50 in some cases. So with that being said, if this book was selling for $30, which is my assumption, that's one hell of a return on investment for the seller.
Yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm. Because we're talking about, let's just call it what it is, $190, $10 shy for $200 on a book that, quite frankly, people hate.
And this will be on the list next week.
Cover. So, wow, and I have to admit, it's a great cover. But I'm like the guys in the chat in the pass, because all it is Mary Jane in a bikini. It's I wouldn't call it iconic.
Yeah.
Because it's standard. That's it. It's going to be hot for a couple of weeks, and then it's going to cool down. Now, will it be like $100, $90? Who knows? A lot of times it does happen sometimes. But that's your number 2 book. The number 1 book, however, is a book that I think will hold to value for a little while. And that is Helverine number 5, the Alessandro Cappuccino spoiler variant. This book came out last week in 2025 for Marvel Comics. Near mint, $10 for last recorded sales. The fair market value of this book is $13. There are already slabs being sold for this book. $54 is the average. It is number 8 on Key Collector, number 1 in CBSI, and number 2 in CovrPrice. The sales volume over 30 days is 116 copies. Hype level is high. This was in the list last week. It returned, but this time it came back hotter than before.
Yeah, it's too bad that, the hype for this book, like, it's really about the cover, let's be honest, because the tease is really just this small panel at the back of a picture of an iPad with Helverine or Hell Hulk on the cover. But it's too bad, really, because the rest of the book, it's probably the best issue of Helverine that has been out yet. Mm-hmm. It's really, really good, a really cool story, and I really like the art. And I haven't really been a fan of the rest. They've been okay, but this one I actually really enjoyed. It's got me back on the book.
Yeah, and I'm looking forward to the next couple of issues, right?
Yeah.
So the next issues, we're gonna get some more Hell Hulk covers, but you're gonna get that eventual meeting between Helverine and Hell Hulk, and that's what everybody's looking forward to. That's pretty much what everybody's looking forward to, and it better deliver. Let's be honest. So there you have it, guys. That is the number 1 book for this week. What's your thoughts? Tell me what you think about the ranking systems. Which books do you have? I want to know in the comments. Share them in the comments. Let me know which books you have. Tell me which books you want to have. Tell me if you're willing to spend $190 for a bikini pinup. And let me know what you think about the show. Until next week's rankings. And with that said, let's go back to the chat. Where did I last leave it here? I think it was D is MJ as Venom. Weak AF. Sorry for giving you the spoiler, but I think it's been a week. It's time, right?
Yeah, enough time has passed.
Enough time, right? But he gives us a shout out. What's up, D? All right. Love this. Had the opportunity to grab one from C2E2. Congratulations, Joffrey. All right. Yeah, John Tyler Christopher is a cool dude, man. And he has one of the smallest signatures out there. So,
yeah.
All right. Yep, I'll pass as well. It's a lot. Hard pass from Rich. I'm so bored with these cheesecake covers. For that price, it better have one hell of a centerfold. Not really. 190 gets me a badass third part Optimus recolored with a little bumblebee. And he meant to say third party. Yeah, it's like, for those prices, I get it. I get why they become instant, FOMO buys for people that can't make the convention, so they have to go to the secondary market to pick up these books. But we're at the stage now where people are really overspending on books that really aren't worth it. My personal opinion, I don't think they're worth it. I think you could buy a Bronze Age. You might even buy some Silver Age books at that same price, and good quality books. Why go as far as spending nearly $200 on a brand new book?
Well, the word's out on these con exclusives, so I think people are willing to roll the dice and buy a few of them, hoping that one of them hits, and they can either keep it and be happy or sell it and make some money.
Yeah, and I'll be the first to say I take advantage of that opportunity. When I go to New York Comic Con, I do buy a set of variants, not because I want to keep them. It's because I know I could flip them on the secondary market, because there is somebody out there that wants the book, and more power to them. You know what I mean? I'm not saying that they shouldn't. I think my personal opinion is there are better books out there. You know what I mean? But if you want the latest Mark Spears book, if you want the next, Venom with Mary Jane in a tube top, have at it. If that's what you like, that's you, and I'm fine with that. That's not for me. That's my personal opinion. You know what I'm saying, Shane?
Yep,
And that's how I feel about it. So nothing against anybody who does it, but there are better books out there. I'm just saying. Okay. So we're going to move on, guys. Thank you so much for being patient with us. Just to let everybody know, if you are a channel member, you have the ability to see the latest video that is out right now for channel members, and that's the Cosmic Con Year of Superman panel. This happened several months ago. I actually put it out because it's Superman Day on Wednesday, so I figured might as well take advantage of the opportunity and take a look at the video. So if you are a channel member, you have the ability to watch this right now after this show, of course. If not, then you can wait till tomorrow at 11:30 Eastern AM to watch the video. So it's a cool panel. It has some Rods Morales, Jamal Igle, and Keith Williams with Roy Schwartz doing the Monterey. It's a really fun panel. It's a good panel. They talk about some really cool things. So go check that out. We'll talk some more about some other things. But before we do, I got to give a shout out to the Rat Pack. So shout out the Rat Pack. I just realized a typo. I'm not saying where. Okay. We're going to go over and do 30, 60, 90 now. We got some really cool books. It's a nice little mix of books that are in this list. So let's get ready for 30, 60, 90. $30, 60, 90. This is the part of the show where we go over books that were hot just a month ago, 2 months ago, and 3 months ago. We're going to take a look at these three books. They were the hot books. They were the #1 books for CovrPrice. So shout out to the guys over at CovrPrice. It's from their list. Shane, we got three very different books.
Yeah,
your
for sure.
Thoughts here.
But they've kind of all been in movies, so there is a connection for some of them.
That is true. That is absolutely true.
I'm a big fan of Berserker. I really like it. I've liked the one-shots. We've talked about it before. So it's a good series. I would pick it up in a trade if you haven't read it. It's a cool read. And with all the connections, again, like we've talked about, the probability of this being made is fairly high at whatever level it's going to be, a TV show, animation, or movie. You've got a lot of the right boxes being checked. Fantastic Four, the first Herbie. I'm looking forward to seeing if they can pull this off and have a Fantastic Four movie. I've liked all the other ones, but they just haven't been well received. But I've enjoyed each one of them.
Mhm.
And Rivals, I mean, it's kind of quieted down quite a bit, really.
Mhm. Yeah. We're going to take a look at the first book. We talk a little bit about Berserker, so let's look at Berserker #1. This book came out in 2021 from Boom Studios. On March 11th, week #2, it was the #1 book for CovrPrice, and it had a top weekly sale of $100 at 9.8. The weekly unit sold was 40 copies. The raws were going for $4. The grades were going for 70. As of today, pretty much the same. $3 for a raw copy was sold. That was the last recorded sale. And not a lot of movement within that 30-day period. Like one book a day was being sold. The fair market values stood the same for the raws. However, they bumped up for the 9.8s at $93. The highest known sale of this book is $175. And that was for a 9.8 back in April of 2023. This book has a lot of copies in the census with 2,333 copies. We got Keanu Reeves is attached to this. We got Keanu Reeves saying that there's gonna be a movie. When John Wick is over, we're getting some Berserker.
Yeah, I think so. And I'm looking forward to it. Like I said, I think it's good. And that's a lot of books in the census for sure.
And the reason why this book is so affordable is because it has a high print run.
Yeah.
They did print a lot. So if you want to get some more rarity, there's plenty of rare Berserker #1s out there. There's so many different types of variants that are out there. It's insanity. However, I personally like this I like this cover a lot.
Yeah.
And for $3, why not?
I know. Exactly.
It's going to sell, right? So there you have it. Berserker #1. That was 1 month ago. Let's take a look at the book that was 2 months ago. That's Fantastic Four 209. This book originally came out in 1979 from Marvel Comics. During February 10th, week 2, it was $279 and a 9.8. That was the top weekly sale. 82 copies were being sold that week. The raws were going for $15 at a fine. The graded copies were going for $144 at a 9.6. That was the average. That average actually stood exactly the same. No real change there. However, the last sale was $26 at a near mint, and it sold within that 60-day period, it sold 43 copies, so it actually dipped a little bit in sales. However, on February 13th, the highest sale of this book was at $360 at a 9.8. The census count, only 346 copies.
Yeah, that's a tough 9.8 too. 79 black all the way around. It's got that like newsprint paper. So that would be hard to get.
Yeah, anything that's before the 80s is hard to get. And then you have a black cover. Makes it even harder.
Yeah.
Starts fading away within time. First appearance of Herbie. First John Byrne on Fantastic Four as well. This is a fun book. It's, $26. You could probably get it for less. I'm sure you could get it for less. However, the movie is about 2.5 months away from happening, from what I remember. Is it June or July? Somewhere along those lines, but it's not that far.
Yeah.
2 to 3 months away from happening. We're starting to get some more imagery. Just today, there was a leak of Robert Downey Jr. as Dr. Doom, which I don't know how I feel about it right now. I still don't know how I feel about Robert Downey Jr. playing Dr. Doom, because he is definitely playing a variant of Tony Stark. I said Storm. And I just don't feel that. I want Victor Von Doom. I don't want a variant of Tony Stark.
So hopefully what they're doing is a little bit of misdirection, and Robert Downey is going to be the variant. And in the background, they've got somebody that's going to be Victor Von Doom.
It's quite possible, but who knows how they're going to turn. It is a multiverse story, so we're going to go towards that. I know that much.
Yeah.
So there you have it, guys. Fantastic Four 209, that was the hot book 2 months ago. Let's take a look at the book that was hot 90 days ago. And that was Magic #1. This is the NetEase Marvel Rivals variant. This book came out in 2025 for Marvel Comics. Week #2, January 13th. It was $40 a top weekly sale. Weekly units, 43 copies were sold during that time period. The Raws were going for $33, and there was no graded copies since the book literally just came out. As of today, a very fine copy sold for $4. However, during the 90-day period, there's been 121 sales. The Raws actually went up in value to $40 near mint, while the graded copies, which now are being graded, are going for approximately $109. However, a high sale of this book, the highest known value was $163 at a 9.8, and that was recently, about a month ago, on March 21st. There's currently 60 copies in the census right now. Marvel Rivals, this is when it was at its hottest.
Yeah.
It's cooled down a little bit, but it's still kind of hot.
Yeah, like we haven't seen, Marvel Rivals 1, any of those covers kind of show up in any lists. I haven't really seen anything about them since they've come out. I didn't like it, to be honest. I didn't the read. Did you read it?
I didn't read it. I purchased my copy to say I had my copy, but I didn't read it.
Yeah, it's not very good. It wasn't. It's like it was written. It's like it wasn't written by comic people or something.
And it was an Infinity comic, so it was a digital comic that was then put together, kind of like It's Jeff as well.
Yeah.
So it probably wasn't written by comic book people.
Yeah, no, just you can tell by if anybody else in the chat has read it, they can chime in. But I just remember reading it and just going, well, I'm not buying any more of that.
Well, there you have it, guys. Magic #1, the NetEase Marvel Rivals variant, was the hottest book 90 days ago. It's cooled down since, but it's still worth about the same price it was then. Go check it out. Thank you for watching the 30, 60, 90. This was a fun one. Like I said, we talked a lot about Berserker and just its potential. Obviously, Fantastic Four is coming out soon, and Magic is just a hot book because of Marvel Rivals. We'll see what it looks like next week when we talk about the next 30, 60, 90. All right. And there we go. Doing good. We're doing good on time. I don't know if we'll make the goal, but we're doing good. I think we're doing all right.
Yeah.
All right. So let's see here. We got I miss guys like Gil Kane and Carmen Infante. Yeah, those are legends, man. All right. And before he was John Wick, he was Berserker. If you understand the story, you know. Yeah, 36. It's short and it wins. LOL. Yeah, 3069 is usually what, 10, 15 minutes we take on it.
Yeah.
We never really go long on 3690. Right? It's nothing like Injustice. That was way better than it. You know what? I look at those things differently. Injustice to me is very different because it is a what do you call it? It's a Street Fighter game, right?
Yeah.
Where Marvel Rivals is a what do you call it? It's a point and shoot type of thing, right?
Well, it's a team-based shooter
and it's a team-based thing. So, and they always get to update it because now you got the Hellfire Club, which I think we're gonna see some big pushes from the Hellfire Gala come up sooner rather than later once that becomes a thing. So be on the lookout for those books. White Queen, for example, and things like that. Okay. It is now time to go to our creator spotlight. We've been doing things a little differently than when we started. We started on creators, and we are going to do a creator soon, very soon again. But in honor of Superman Day, we decided, and really it was Shane who came up with the idea. We decided to talk about Superman comics that people should read. That's it. People should read these books. So we're going to take a look at some Superman comic books that many of them are actually really affordable, but they're considered the best of the best as far as the stories go, because Superman, let's be honest, Superman doesn't have a lot of big time stories with the exception of one or two here and there. But for those of you who are fans of Superman, This is one that you're going to love. This is one that I think you're going to enjoy. And this is one that we're going to take a look at right now with the Creator Spotlight. It's time for the Creator Spotlight. This week, we're going to be focusing on Superman comics. It says they're top 21. I cheated. I'll explain why. Because it's actually 21 comics. But I'll explain in a little bit why I cheated. Another thing that I want to share with everybody with the Creator Spotlight now, if you notice, it is going to be part of Go Collect as well. And what I'm going to do now, moving forward, which I've already started. So when we did it 2 weeks ago with the iconic covers, and this past week with with the indie comics. You're going to be able to see the CPI numbers for them in Go Collect site. So if you are subscribed to Go Collect, check out the articles. I'm going to post the articles out in, my streams and things like that, so you guys could take a look at them. And those books are going to be there, as well as some fair market value information and things like that. So this is going to be a Go Collect, video moving forward, and we're going to continue doing it. It's not going to change how I do the videos. It's more on a line so I could put it together with the blogs that are part of the articles. So with that being said, guys, check out gocollect.com if you haven't done so already. It's an awesome service. I do articles with them, and I hope you get a chance to read them. Leave a comment on the articles too, and let me know your thoughts there. Let's start off, Shane, with some honorable mentions. And we got 4. Okay, with the honorable mentions here, these are books that they're honorable because they're either a first appearance of a different character, or there's some significance about something, or it's just super cool, right? First one here is Action Comics 252. Came out in 1959. It is the Supergirl from Krypton. This is the first appearance of Supergirl, but let's not forget, it's also the first appearance of Metallo. Tell me your thoughts on that one book.
So this is a awesome book. I love it. And recently, we talked about this book before. For some reason, I don't remember why, but a friend of mine was, he got a divorce, so he lost all of his books, had to sell them all, and he recently moved. And when he moved, he found a bunch of his old books, and one of them was this book.
Wow.
And it's in very, very good shape. So he's going to give it to me. I'm going to work some magic on it with hopefully a good press and clean, and we're going to send that thing off. When I looked at it, it's got a couple chips out of it, but I'm thinking it can be at least between a 4.5 and a 6.5. So
still good price for a book of that age. We're talking about 1959. So great stuff. The other book here is a bit of, I call this one a little bit of an oddity book. And during the 50s, they did a lot of books like this, right? So Superman's Girlfriend, Lois Lane, #1, and it was a series. It had some very interesting stories in it.
Yeah.
But it was one of those stories where it showcases Lois Lane, but in a very Silver Age, quirky, dare I say, just weird. And Jimmy Olsen's was another book that I didn't put on this list, but it is another book that I have to say it falls in the same place as Lois Lane, where it's just they go weird in these books. What's your thoughts on those books?
Well, I thought they were neat because they obviously were trying to capture the other 50% of the market.
Mm-hmm.
So, let's put some stories out there, but then they reached the problem of, okay, well, what are we going to get Lois to do?
And she's done some crazy stuff. There was even that one where she turns into a black lady. That was weird.
Yeah.
So, and the whole comic book is how she's going to get Superman. So is it really Superman's girlfriend, or is it more like Superman's stalker?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's how that book was. Our next book here is Superman Annual number 1. Excuse me. Giant Size Annual number 1. It came out in 1960. This is a collection of stories, but was more importantly, this is the first appearance of, and I say first appearance, but it's really the first sighting of the Fortress of Solitude, which is extremely important to Superman. We're going to see it in the movie. What we've seen already has been great as far as the Fortress of Solitude goes and how they're redesigning it.
Yeah, they released a little extended preview of it that I have different thoughts on, but the Fortress of Solitude part was really cool.
Sorry about this. Okay. And our last book here is Superman Peace on Earth. As you can see by the cover, it is an Alex Ross book. It is an oversized book. I have a copy of it. I was showing it to Shane earlier. It is massive. Then when I say massive, it is bigger than your standard book. It is bigger than a magazine. It is a display item. And this book it's set around, it's a Christmas story as well. It's set out in the Christmas season. And all it is a story by Alex Ross and Paul Tini. And it just shows Superman's compassion, really, where he goes off and he's feeding the hungry and things like that. It's a fun story. It's part of a collection of stories. This is the first of that collection. It's also a Batman, a Wonder Woman. There's a JLA as well. Go check them out. I think they're pretty affordable still, but they are large size and they're very difficult to maintain. They're more, you might as well put it in your bookshelf than you can't put it in a box.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right. So those are your honorable mentions. Let's go in and take a look at this list, starting with the first. Action Comics number 1. This book came out in 1938 for DC Comics. The high sell, you ready for this? $6 million at an 8.5, and that happened last year in April. The last sale of this book, which to me is a shocker, $200 in a no grade, and that also happens to be the average because this book doesn't really sell like that. It's a very rare book. The average CGC grade is a 3.0, and that is at $960,000. There's currently 81 copies in the census, which I think is actually pretty high when you really think about it. It is the debut of Superman. It is the start of the superhero genre in comic books. Before that, they were mostly pulp heroes and things like that. But Superman was like the cape, the trunks, the superpowers. This is the book that started it all.
Yeah, 81 copies too. I mean, like when you compare, because a lot of people would likely, wrong or right. I don't disagree with them, but put like Amazing Fantasy up on the same level as, an Action Comics 1. But realistically, when you look at the census, because most of these books are going to be, not too many people are going to have this raw. It's most likely graded because you're going to want to protect it.
Yeah. And if you have it raw, chances are you're going to just get that sucker graded.
I mean, or you're just keeping it forever. Like if you're not grading it, you're keeping it forever. Mm-hmm. But I mean, in one like this, the only reason not to grade it would be the amount of money it would cost you to do that.
Yeah, because they're going to want a percentage.
Yeah,
in some way. So, but the fact that they'll have it at hand, it's publicity. You know what I mean? It's part of that as well. So you might catch some breaks with it too if you were to have it. I would love to come across one. I've seen it. I've seen the comic book plenty of times when I go to conventions and shows. I've actually held one in my hands as well. It is the size is a slightly bigger than what we know as a comic book because the Golden Age comic books were a little larger than they are today. Right. Let's go over our next book here. Superman number 1, 1938. DC Comics. High sale of this book was also an 8.0, and it was $5.3 million. That was in January of 2022. The last sale of this book was at 3.5, $370,000. The Raw goes for a fine, really a fine to poor at $11,100. The graded copies are averaging out at 1.0s and they're $84,000. Census count is a little higher for this one, $188. What makes this significant is that before this, all the characters were part of anthology series. So a lot of what people don't know about Action Comics, many people don't know, is that Action Comics, as well as Detective Comics, they were anthology stories. Superman was not the only story in that comic book, and in same thing with Detective comic books. Batman wasn't the only story in that comic books. However, here they gave him a dedicated comic book, and Superman he was the first superhero. Not only the first superhero, he was also the first character to have a leading character role in a comic book, which was just within that year. That's how popular Superman was.
And look at how they knocked the logo out of the park immediately.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like they could have just done this standard font. They could have there's so many things that they just could have did, but someone like decided on that, and it's a winner, right? Like it's so good.
The logo, the pose, everything about it just screams iconic, right?
Yeah.
And is a logo that still exists to this day. That's still the standard logo for Superman.
Yeah, I know. That's what's so amazing about it.
Mm-hmm. Even Batman's has changed over time, but Superman, we're not touching that one.
No.
That one's perfect as is. So
no, it's just amazing.
Mm-hmm. Let's go to our next book here. And that is Action Comics 23. This book came out in 1940 for DC Comics. High sale of this book was at $84,000 as an 8.0. That was in October of 2024. Last sale of this book was $8,100 at a no grade. That was in February of 2025. The Raws are going for $773 at a fair, and 2.0s, $11,100. There's currently 165 copies in the census. This is considered the first appearance of Lex Luthor, the first mention of the Daily Planet. However, very much like Spider-Man, some sources claim that Superman 4 is the first true appearance of Lex Luthor. Both books debuted in February 1940. However, Superman 4 features Luthor on the cover. But they considered this to be the first one.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I've never seen this cover before. It's pretty cool. And again, low census count. So, I mean, they're rare. I mean, when people talk about, like, you know, and not to say that Mark Spear's books aren't rare, but when you talk about a book being rare, now this book is rare.
Yeah, it is rare. It's again, it's one of those books, right? 23, 1940. It's a great cover as well. You know, really good stuff. You can see Superman's already on the corner box in the top corner there, and it's probably Lois Lane. That's fine. You know what I mean? It's probably her. He's always saving her. But I find it so interesting that even this early on, they already had his main villain. Because back then, characters didn't have villains like that. They were just like throwaway villains. Even Batman's rogues galleys, which many of them were introduced in the Golden Age as well. They're just, you know, they were very much one-offs.
Yeah.
And Luthor was very much kind of the same thing. He wasn't what we know him today. He was more of a mad scientist type. And that was kind of standard back then. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah. It's just cool to see how,
mm-hmm.
you know, that they kind of progressed that character and changed it.
Yeah. All right, let's go with the chat for a minute. I see Nerdy Geek, All-Star Superman. Maybe. All right. Who knows? Maybe we will see Annual 11. All right. Get up that Superman theme. Don't be a stinger, is he? All right. That Supergirl's on my hunt list. Nerdy Geek, if you get it, that'd be awesome, bro. All right. Shane, I'm looking to purchase a presser. Any tips on what? Oh, okay. You can definitely find out. And then he says, message me on Insta. Not as weird as Lois trying to spank. No, there was a lot of weird. Like I said, Lois was doing some weird stuff back then. And hashtag Buns of Steel. I love the Alex Ross Superman and Shazam. Yeah, he does a great one. Joffrey says, holy 5.3 million for 8.0. I would have sold my soul for that issue. And to Joffrey, language, Joffrey, is he sensitive to a potty mouth? I am sensitive to a potty mouth because I want this to be a family-friendly show. That's the whole reason. All right. I need it. I love full moon cover. Nerdy Geek, if you get it, I will give you a thumbs up for that. All right, let's take a look at our next book. Superman 423. Now, this to me is part of a two-part book. So remember when I said 21? And I say 20, but I said 21. This is one of two. Okay, we're going to start with Superman 423, 1986 for DC Comics. The high sale of this book is at $408.09.8. That was in May of 2022. Last sale of this book was $150.09.8. That's also the fair market value for a 9.8. The raws are going for about $12 at a very fine. There's 619 copies in the census for this book. This is written by Alan Moore. It is considered a farewell to the Silver Age Superman and is a poignant and reflective story entitled Whatever Happened to the Man of Tomorrow. Have you heard about this story?
No, I haven't, but that is a very busy cover.
It is a very busy cover, and it's kind of like, again, it's paying homage to the Silver Age. That's kind of what the intention was here. So during this time in 86, DC was revamping their entire universe, right? Thus, Crisis on Infinite Earths. But before they did that, they wanted to wrap things up beforehand. So some of the books did get like, this is technically a series finale. This book right here. It is the end of this comic book. And it really ended up being the last Superman book before they relaunched it. The story of Whatever Happened to the Man of Tomorrow was written by Alan Moore. And it just tells a nice story about Superman doing his last deed, which leads us to the next book. And that is Action Comics 583. Came out at the same time, also written by Alan Moore. The high sale of this book was $250 at 9.8. That was in April of 2022. Last sale of this book was $14 at a fine, and it goes for about $14 normally for a raw. $131 for 9.8, $324 in $324. You hear me? 324 copies in the census. This is the final story for the Silver Age pre-Crisis Superman from Earth 1. It wrapped up the continuity before Superman will get a relaunch after Crisis of Infinite Earths. And again, it's a farewell story. It's Superman doing his final act before we get a new Superman. That's why those two books go hand in hand.
And those two, they're like, get them raw is affordable. So I would buy those if I found them for sure.
And it's Alan Moore writing it, so you're going to get top-notch storytelling.
Yep.
Alan Moore's Superman is considered some of the best stories out there. And I have to say it, he doesn't have, we come up with 20 books, right? But throughout the years, there's not as many stories that kind of live up to that. This is the Superman story I want to see. Spider-Man has quite a few. Even Batman has a few here and there. But Superman, for some reason, doesn't necessarily have that. He has a villains gallery, but even that's kind of weak in comparison to other characters.
Yeah, I mean, because the main drive of Superman is, he's very, very powerful, obviously. So I think it's harder to come up with a numerous characters that are going to have to go against.
Yeah, you got to keep coming up with new gimmicks and things like that for it to happen. So this is one of those situations as well. let's look our next book, and that is Man of Steel #1. This book came out in 1986 for DC Comics. High sale of this book's $198 at a 9.8, and that was in May of 2022. Last sale of this book was $2 at a fine. The raws are going for $3. The graded copies are going for $95. There's currently 313 copies in the census. This is John Byrne's post-Crisis of Infinite Earths reboot. This is where we take Superman for a modern era, and it did impact Superman's continuity. He's not as strong as he once was before, and he is what's the word? He's weak against magic now, which he wasn't beforehand. What's your take on John Byrne's version of Superman?
Well, this is my introduction to Superman. I think I have this one and the other cover for this, the direct one, like the variant, one of the first variants.
Yeah.
And I really liked it. I really enjoyed it. This series, I highly recommend anybody read it. You can pick up all 6, usually at any con. They have them bundled together for not very much money. Yeah, I think it was really good. I love the art. I like the story. So it was a win for me.
Yeah, and when we look back at Superman, this is kind of like the Superman our generation is starting to gravitate more towards. We still love the classic Superman and obviously 78 Superman and things like that. But when we think about Superman today, we kind of look back to John Byrne's story and how he was able to take Superman. He created the Lex Luthor we know today, which still stands. You know, the business tycoon.
Yeah.
Kind of resembles somebody we know right now, without saying it out loud. And I think it's a better take on Superman. My opinion.
Yeah, it was fun. It was really good. It's a good story for sure.
Yeah. All right. Next book is The Death of Superman. Superman 75, 1993, DC Comics. High sale of this book's $155 and a 9.8, and that was in November of 2021. Last sale of this book was $50 and an 8.5, and the raws are going for now $11, while the graded copies are going for $94. There's currently 4,400 copies in the census. This is the quintessential Death of Superman storyline, the major event that garnered mainstream media attention and had high impact on the comic industry. This was the book that started the boom that went downhill from there.
Yeah, and I didn't even own this book at the time. I bought it just a couple of years ago, actually. Finally cracked down and bought it.
So the one that we're not seeing right now is the bleeding icon, which is the bagged version, right? This book, when it came out, I remember the discussions around it, right? So many people went to buy this book. The comic shops were packed of people that never went to a comic book store.
Yeah.
And probably never went to a comic book store again. I also remember the newsstands were packed as well for this comic book. So I was able to pick multiple copies of this book, and I picked it up at a newsstand. I picked it up at a comic book shop. I had 2 bags, and I had the regular, which is this one. The bagged one was more sought after than this one. However, this is the one that kind of like slowly became the bigger book because it's an iconic image as well. But it has its place in time.
Yeah, for sure.
Everybody knows this book. And yes, there are millions of copies that exist.
Yeah, that's true.
Not so much as X-Men and Spider-Man, but this one's just as significant.
Yeah, I think it's probably up there in the top 5 for print runs.
Yeah. Top 3, actually.
Yeah.
All right, let's take a look at our next book. That's Kingdom Come #1. This one's 1996 for DC Comics. High sale of this book is $225 and 9.8, and that was in April of 2023. Last sale was $18 near mint, and this book is going for about $7, very fine, while 9.8s are going for about $165. There's 785 copies in the census. Now, this is technically a DC Universe story. However, this is more of a Superman story. And when we think about Superman in this story, we think about the struggles he was going through with what was happening, because this is a take on the future of DC Universe, which may or may not happen according to what they say, but it deals with serious themes of superhero comics like legacy, responsibility, and the consequences for unchecked power. This is the book that made Alex Ross a household name, but let's not forget how important it was to the writer as well, Mark Waid. Tell me your thoughts on Kingdom Come.
So this is another one. I only own the trade of it, and I probably bought that about 10 years ago. I have a friend, and he loves this story. He doesn't buy any other comics, but he's bought this one, and we could talk about it every single day because he loves it so much. So there's people out there that just love this story. So, and I agree, it's very good.
It is so good. And Alex's Ross art is it's on the next level with this story because it's fully painted. The amount of Easter eggs that this book has, it's crazy. But it is definitely a book. If you haven't checked it out, pick up a trade so you can read it. In fact, most of these books that we're going through in this list are collected as well. So you could get a chance to read the trades. You could check them out on services like Global Comics or DC Universe app. Read them. They're worth reading. That's what I'm saying. This is a readings list rather than, top keys. This is more about the reading. Let's go to our next book. Superman for All Seasons, #1. This came out in 1998 for DC Comics. High sale of this book was $450 at a 9.9 in January of 2025. Last sale of this book was just $5 at a very fine. That's also a fair market value. 9.8s go for about $220, and there's only 60 copies in the census. This explores Clark Kent's early years with heart and depth. It is Jeff Loeb, Tim Sale at what they do best, telling timeless stories and really just going back, right? They're coming of age story, and this is a great coming of age story for Superman. It's more of a Clark Kent story than a Superman story.
Yeah, and this one I didn't know anything about, but I got a preview of the free books that are coming out on Wednesday, and this first issue is one of them. It's a facsimile of it, and I was really surprised. It looks amazing, so I'm going to try to find these original ones.
Yeah, they're really affordable, but it's such a good story. And Tim Sale's artwork, his Superman's a little bit of not conventional to what people like, but his artwork in general is just great. Alongside Jeff Loeb's writing, this is a pair that works well together, man. But for All Season, again, it looks back more at his time as Clark Kent in Smallville, becoming Superman. So it's that kind of a story. So a really good story. Check it out. It's called Superman for All Seasons. It's a 4-issue run. Each book is a season. So you have spring, summer, fall, winter, and go check those out. Our next book is a single issue in his Action Comics 775. This book came out in 2001 for DC Comics. High sale of this book is at $239 at 9.8. That just sold in January 2025. Last sale of this book was $21, very fine. That's also a fair market value for the book. 9.8s are going for $190. There's currently 261 copies in the census. This does feature a first appearance of Manchester Black and the Elite, and it's a story that explores Superman's ideals in a changing world, and it deals with the concepts of more violent anti-heroes. It is a well-respected Superman story. In fact, it is a Superman story that everyone should read because this is the story that kind of makes Superman who he is. And this is the story that I think Zack Snyder should have read before making Man of Steel, because it proves why Superman doesn't kill. And it's also the story that it's like, what if Superman had to deal with the Punisher and Punisher brand justice? That's what the Manchester Black and the Elite were doing. It was so good that they adapted this one story into an animated movie.
Oh, that's interesting. I didn't know that. But this is another one that I would definitely pick up, and the cover art looks, I think, very similar to the new Superman.
Yeah, and it's a Tim Bradstreet. That's why I mentioned Punisher. Tim Bradstreet did this cover, who is notorious for doing some really great Punisher covers. It is so good, man. It's like, what line would you cross? You know, especially with Superman having all the powers that he is. And again, that the cover says truth, justice, and the American way. Is it whatever happened to it? It is a story that it's a good story to read even now with this climate that we're this political climate that we're in. It's a great story for that. Mhm. Let's go to our next book here, and that is Superman Red Sun #1. This book came out in 2003 for DC Comics. High sale of this book is $400 and 9.8. That was of March of last year. Last sale of this book is $109 and 9.8. $51 for the near mint raws, $109 for the 9.8. There's currently 340 copies in the census. This is a miniseries by Mark Miller and Dave Johnson. It is What If Superman Landed in the Soviet Union. It is a great take on the character. What's very interesting about this story, I read it, and as you read it, it doesn't go the way you think it would go, because he's still that same type of Superman. Only difference is his morals are still in tune with what a communist would be like. But it's a really good story. Have you ever had a chance to read Red Sun?
No, I haven't. I haven't read that. I think I've seen it though, but I don't think I've ever read it. But another one that I would definitely pick up.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. So like I said, when you first read it, it has all the tropes that you expect it to have, right? Superman's a communist. He's working for Stalin. He's up against the Americans, but there's still heart in his character, and that's what I really enjoyed about it. Also, you got Batman in it. You have Wonder Woman in it, and these versions of these characters became iconic, really, to the point that, like I said, we did get an animated movie. There's some people want to see a live action version of this.
DC animated has always been great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and this is one of the top ones. Definitely go check it out. Mm-hmm. Our next book is Superman Birthright #1 for DC Comics 2003. High sale of this book is only $30 and 9.8. Last sale of this book was $3. The fair market value is $4 for a fine, $30 for 9.8. There's only 20 copies in the census. It is a 12-issue miniseries, and it is a modern retelling of Superman's origin, and it's aimed to define Superman for the 21st century. This was done by Mark Waid, who also worked with the Neo FU for this story, which is really good story. I don't think it gets as much love because for some reason or another, they seem to love doing these origin stories with Superman. There's a lot of them. We're going to go through a lot of them. This is just one of those that another one that they did. It's like, okay, here's another origin story for Superman.
Yeah, and that's the thing. And I think some of them get lost, the ones that would be really good, like even that Tim Sale one, and this one, I've never really heard of this one or the other one for that matter.
Yeah. Really affordable. You could get the whole set for like super cheap. Yeah, but it's a fun story. It's a good story. You could read it. It's another origin story, so I'll give you that much. But it does take that same, Superman 78 style to it, but it wants to keep it more in the modern take to today's society within the 2000s. Worth checking out. There's a good reason why it's not ultraly expensive. Our next one, Superman Secret Identity. This book came out in 2004 for DC Comics. High sale of this book was $35 and a 9.8, and that was in July of 2019. Last sale of this book was $6. Fair market value of this book is $8. This is also $35 is also the fair market value. There's only 12 copies in the census. This one's a good one. I really like this one. This is an Elseworld story. It's a 4-issue Elseworld story by Kurt Busiek and Stuart Immonen, and a boy named Clark Kent in the real world, where Superman is just a comic book. However, he mysteriously gains powers like the fictional Superman, and the story follows his life as he tries to live quietly while doing good in secret. So this is a story more in tunes of what if an average kid gained the power of Superman.
Yeah, reminds me of very much of Chronicle.
Yes. But in this particular instance, he becomes more like Superman.
Right. Yeah. Instead of crazy.
Yeah. So it's definitely worth checking out. I had these books. I never really read them, but when I read the synopsis, I just got really interested. I was like, oh wow, how would they make this take? And of course, since he's a comic book reader, he's taking what he's learned from the comic books and he's applied it to his day-to-day life and still keeping his a secret identity intact.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Our next book, again, is the classic All-Star Superman #1, 2005 for DC Comics. The high sale was $425 at 9.8. That was in December of 2024. Last sale, this book was $10 at a no grade. Fair market value is $6 for a very fine, $192 for 9.8. There's currently 686 copies in the census. This is a 12-issue series by Grant Morrison and Frank Whiteley. This is also technically an Elseworld story, but it's part of the All-Star line that came out during that time. Superman facing his own death and absorbing too much solar radiation, and he set out to complete key missions and say goodbye the right way. It celebrates everything iconic about the character, his heart, hope, and heroism. This is pretty much a modern take on a Silver Age version of Superman done by Grant Morrison. It is an instant classic.
Oh, this is amazing. I have this one. I've read it a bunch of times. It's actually due for another reading, and it's so affordable. You can get the DC compact of this for whatever they are in US, or $13 Canadian, so $7.99 or $8.99 US, and it gives you the whole thing. I mean, everybody should read this. I think.
Yeah, and DC is making an effort to make sure everybody does read this, because they constantly reprint it. It's going to be one of the books that's part of Superman Day this weekend. And it's a good story. It's generally a good story. It's Superman without all the fluff that goes along with it. But it just tells a story. It gives you this main characters. So you have Lex Luthor in it. You have Parasite in it. But you also have some other characters in the story as well. There's a really cool story with Lois Lane, and she becomes Superwoman, which is really good. Go check it out. The artwork is, I'm not a huge fan of Frank Whiteley, but he killed it in this one.
Oh, I love his stuff. He's crushing it. He's only gotten better. The stuff on Geiger right now he's doing is amazing.
Yeah. Right. Let's take a look at our next book, and that is Action Comics 844. This book came out in 2006 for DC Comics. We're actually looking at a collection here when it comes to this book, so it is part of a series. The high sale of this book is $100 at 9.8, and that was in March of 2021. Last sale, this book was only $3, which makes it also its fair market value. This book goes for $50 for a 9.8. There's only 50 copies in the census. This was written by Jeff Johns and Richard Donner. That's right, Richard Donner, who wrote Superman 78. It features General Zod, Ursa, and Nod, and introduces a Kryptonian boy Superman that tries to raise as his own. The story blends classic movie elements with modern comic storytelling. This story is one of those stories that a lot of people don't talk about, but they should, because it is such a cool take on Superman. And it was so cool to get Richard Donner to be part of it, which Jeff Johns was there to help him in the writing task, because he's obviously not a comic book writer. But it was a really cool take on this story. And let's not forget Adam Kubert's artwork on this story was awesome.
Yeah, that's a really great cover. And this is another one that I hadn't heard of. So
yeah,
happy to try to find this one.
Yeah, it's taking the elements of the movie and kind of adapting it into comic book, but doing a mishmash type of thing. Superman Unchained #1. This book came out in 2013 for DC Comics. The high sale of this book was $135 at a 9.8. That was in September of 2023. Last sale of this book was $3 at a very fine. The raws are going for $2. The 9.8s are going for $39. There's currently $935 in I said it again. I said dollars. 935 copies in the census. It is a 9-issue miniseries by Scott Snyder and Jim Lee, and Superman uncovering a secret government super weapon, a powerful being named Wrath. It questions Superman's role in global politics and military power. He faced threats that challenge both his strengths and his ideals. Another underrated book. It was set in the New 52 era, so this is the New 52 version of Superman.
That's exactly what I was going to say. Totally underrated.
Mm-hmm.
I bought this as it was coming out, read it every month or however often it came out, and I loved it. I didn't understand why, like, more people weren't talking about it. Like, it seemed like I was the only one ordering it. I really enjoyed it. You got Jim Lee art, which the art in it is great. Scott Snyder writing, it was really good. I really enjoyed it.
It was really good, and just again, when you look at Jim Lee, Scott Williams' work, it's like, yeah, how can I not see it's great? You know what I mean? And it was there to commemorate 75 years of Superman, so it was kind of an anniversary issue as well in that way. Good book. To Nerdy Geek's point, Mario Puzo did write Superman the movie. Richard Donner did direct it. Thank you for the correction. I do know that. That wasn't because I didn't know that. However, it was the elements of Richard Donner's movie. That's what I meant. Here's a rare one, and even I didn't know about this one. It's called Superman American Alien #1. This book came out in 2015 for DC Comics. High sale of this book was $69 at 9.8. That was in March of 2025, so just recently. Last sale of this book was $10 at a no grade, $3 of the raws, $69 is 9.8. There's only 38 copies in the census. This is a 7-issue miniseries by Max Landis. And what's interesting about this one, it's a modern grounded take on Clark Kent growing up and becoming Superman. Each issue shows a key moment in his life from childhood to herohood. It is more raw and personal, showing his flaws, fears, and growth. This one is the rare one of the bunch. This is the first time I've seen this book, but I don't know much about it.
I love this book. I've read all 7 of them. I have them. They're you're right. They were kind of like a sleeper, almost like Unchained. And it's because I liked Unchained so much when this came out. I remember, and I believe, I can't remember for sure if it's a little bit bigger than normal or not. I'd have to go back and look at them. But I really enjoyed reading it. It's another one I'm going to have to go back and read again. It was really good. It's kind of, I think it came out at the same time frame as that Spider-Man story where it was like each issue was a different decade.
Yeah.
So I think it might have been around that time.
Mm-hmm. Cool. All right. Let's go to our next book. That's Action Comics 1000, 2015 for DC Comics. High sale of this book's at $100 at 9.8, and that was in November of 2021. Last sale of this book was $30 at a good grade. The raws are going for $5 near mint, while graded copies are going for $46 at a 9.8. This book has 827 copies in the census, and this is just a milestone Superman legacy book. He hit 1,000, 80 years of Superman. And what was really cool about this one, the return of the trunks.
Yeah. Yeah. I really, I have this one signed. It's a variant cover of it. The name of him is escaping me. Super famous dude, though. Oh, Neil Adams.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. I met him and bought the book, and he signed it, had a little chat with him. He was in the falls here. It was really great. So I do have one of this issue, just not this cover.
Yeah. Let's take a look at our next book, and that is Superman Up in the Sky #1. This book came out in 2019 for DC Comics. High sale of this book was $50 at a 9.6, and that was January 2023. Last sale of this book was $3 near mint. We're also going for about $5. The graded copy is going for $46. There's only a lonely 7 copies in the census. This is Superman written by Tom King with art by Andy Kubert, and is Superman going on a cosmic quest to rescue a kidnapped girl. Each issue tests his will, heart, and commitment to doing what's right. It shows why Superman never gives up, no matter how far he has to go.
This one, maybe it suffered because it was just at the beginning of the pandemic. Like I've never heard of this, but you would think King and Kubrick on a book that there would be more than 7 in the census. This is seems like something that needs some attention.
Yeah, it's one of those books to me. Like it was the first time I saw this book, and I was like, interesting. They did a book like this, and Tom King wrote it. But again, we talk about Tom King quite a bit here. He's a hit or miss for many people. There's just sometimes people like Tom King, some people don't like Tom King. I can't say anything towards this book. All I know is that it's a book that people should go out to read because it's worth reading.
Yeah, yeah, and it's affordable enough too.
Yeah, exactly. Our next book is I got a typo.
I missed that one.
All right. This was a really good one, too. All right. Superman Smashes the Clang, #1. This book came out in 2019 for DC Comics. High sale of this book is $149.09.8, and that was in June of 2023. Last sale of this book was $8, and it's at a no grade. And Raws are going for $7, 9.8s are going for $149. This one has even less books in the census with 4. It is a 3-issue miniseries by Gene Luen Yang, and I hope I can get this right, Goriro. Clark Kent's helping a Chinese American family targeted by the Klan at a Fury Cross in 1940's Metropolis. It deals with racism, identity, and Superman coming to terms with his alien heritage. It was inspired by the 1946 Superman radio show that exposes the real-life Ku Klux Klan. I remember when this book came out. I remember its significance. I remember the discussion about the radio story. The only thing to me that kind of hurts this story, because it's such a serious topic, I honestly believe the art doesn't match the subject matter. The art is good. It just doesn't match the subject matter.
Yeah, and I think you're right because I've seen this as like a kid's graphic novel size edition, and that's
Yeah.
really where it was pushed. And you're right. I think that they wanted to get the information out there to as many people as possible, and in trying to do that, they might have got more kids, but they kind of missed the boat on all the regular readers.
Yeah, because he's dealing with the Ku Klux Klan here. It should be a darker story. The artwork is very animated as far as cartoony goes, and I
Yeah,
don't know that fits that subject matter. You know what I'm saying? But
yeah.
it's still a great story.
It reminds me a lot of the animated series.
Yeah, it really does. So, but it's worth checking out. Superman Smashes the Clang. Next book, real fun one. Superman Space Age #1. This book came out in 2022 for DC Comics. High sale of this book is $41.09.8, and that was December of 2023. Last sale of this book was $10 near mint. Raws are going for about $7. 9.8s are going for $39. Another book that only has 4 copies in the census. This is a 3-issue miniseries by Mark Russell and Mike Aldred. It's Clark Kent growing up and becoming Superman. But what makes this one different, it's during key moments of the 20th century. It blends real-world history with DC heroes as they face an incoming apocalypse. The story reflects hope, legacy, and what it means to make a difference. What I love about this book is, first of all, the artwork. I think Mike Aldred's artwork is great. But it has this Superman coming through the Cold War era, and it's periodical. So you got Superman in the 60s, the 70s, and moving upwards. This is one everybody should grab.
Yeah, and this is another one I haven't heard of, but you kind of get the idea of the theme of a lot of these reads is like they don't do much with the character. They put the character in known situations that he wouldn't usually be in, like going through the Cold War or fighting Klan or whatever. They don't really. It's very interesting to see that. But this is another one I'd try to find.
Yeah, this is a good one, man. Go check it out. For the price, might as well, right? But this is a book to read. I understand the four books in the senses. This is a book you want to read.
Yeah.
And there you have it. Those are the top 20 Superman comic books. As I mentioned before, this list was really more about readers' list. Go check out the article. It's going to be on Go Collect sometime next week. So probably about a week from today, it'll be in Go Collect. But check out the article. I'll let you guys know when the article comes out. Thank you for watching the top 20 Superman comic books. I hope you enjoy this list as much as I enjoy creating this list. Because again, I didn't want to stick to just big keys. I wanted to stick to story because that's what this is about. So, all right, Shane, we reached it, man. But before I do that, JSS Brooklyn, what's going on, my man? And a happy Holy Week. Happy for those of you that are Jewish, happy Passover. For those of you that are Christian, happy Easter, Good Friday, all that good stuff. I know I got to be doing stuff this weekend. All right, Typo, take a shot. Hey, it's only the only one, right? Right now it's the only one.
I think so. Yeah,
we're doing good. We just had one. I didn't catch that, but that's okay. I'll fix it in post. Whew. All right, let's wrap this baby up. We're gonna do New Comic Book Day with fresh picks.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's New Comic Book Day, and with that, we got some new comic books that are being released April 16th of 2025. It is also known as Superman Day. That's why we got Superman in the cover of the thumbnail. Are you excited for Superman Day, Shane?
Yeah, I can't wait. There's some really cool free books, which I got a preview of, but I'm really going to be going after that Dan Mora Action 1 cover.
Yeah. All right. What we do all the time is we're going to go over the books that we like. We're also going to take a look at a rundown of the list of comic books that are scheduled to come out for this Wednesday. Before we do that, we like to take a look back to the previous week, and we talk about those books that were previously fresh, and these are the top voted comic books according to the League of Comic Geek. At number 1 was Absolute Batman number 7 with 38% of the votes, followed by The Ultimate, then followed by Amazing Spider-Man number 1. I'm shocked that made it there. Batman Dark Patterns also, and finally wrap things up with Transformers. Did you get to read any of these books?
All of them except for Dark Patterns. I dropped that one, just not because I didn't like it, just because I needed to save some money.
Mm-hmm.
And
so what's your thoughts?
I'm curious to see what you think of the new art in Absolute Batman compared to Dragola. Is that how you say his name?
Yeah, Dragoda.
Dragoda, because it's a new team. So I wanted to see what you thought.
So I got to see a little bit of it. I didn't get to read it, but I did get to see a little bit. It's definitely better than the artist that was there beforehand.
Yes.
And I think it fits the story. This is the moment where it says, where I look at it and say, okay, this fits this story perfectly. Yeah. Right? Where the other one kind of got in the way of the story I wanted to read.
Yeah.
Where in this one, and I love the take on Freeze, how Freeze looks so far.
Yeah.
That he looks sick.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts about everything else with the story?
So I like that Absolute Batman issue. The Ultimates, I don't know why it's on this list. It was horrible. I don't. It was a bad. This is one of the first weeks that I haven't liked all of the top books there. But the Ultimates it was just text, like someone talking the whole time. Like there was no character interaction. Mm-hmm. And I couldn't keep track of what was even happening. I'm like, I finished it and I'm like, what is going on with this?
12% of the people liked it.
I know.
And 11% of the people like Amazing Spider-Man. Talk to me about that one.
Well, and that's it was horrible too. Like, it's just like the art didn't fit with the story, and the story wasn't even that good anyway. Like it just, I don't know why. The only reason it could be on this list is because I don't know, like it's Amazing Spider-Man. I don't know, but I was not happy with that one. But Transformers though was amazing. It was really good. I'm shocked that it's not higher up on the list because it's finally telling the story of what's been happening with Megatron during these previous issues. So it's really cool to see the whole story again, kind of from his point of view.
Awesome. All right, let's take a look at the rundown. Believe it or not, it's a lighter week again. We only have 63 new releases, but we have 198 variants, which gives us a total of 261 comic books coming out this week. From there, we have 13 number ones. 75 of them are going to be variants, with a total of 88 number one comic books. That's a lot, as always. We have 14 potential keys. However, we have 5 first appearances. This may include a team appearances of something like that. Keep in mind, they are potential keys, so it's not guaranteed that those keys are going to be what they are, but they're being identified as keys as of right now. Over at Marvel, we have 14 titles with 45 variants. Over at DC, we have one more with 15 titles and 49 variants. And over at the other publishers, Image Comics has 8 titles with 17 variants. Boom has a lowly 1 title with 1 variant, which is Something's Killing the Children. They've been low since the whole Diamond situation. They haven't really been performing a lot, so I wonder what's going on there. IDW has 3 titles with 14 variants. Dynamite has 3 titles with 41 variants. Dark Horse has 4 titles with 2 variants. And as we wrap things up, 16 titles for the indies with 30 variants. Little modest today on the variants.
Yeah, which will be good for my wallet on Wednesday.
All right, let's start talking about the keys that we think are going to be. Summer of Superman #1. This book, very interesting, but it's to celebrate the Superman Day, which is happening this Wednesday, with an all-new Superman special. #1, you got the Jorge Jimenez cover, which you've seen. The Alexander Loranza cover is gorgeous. And John Jane's killing it with that Lobo. However, this is a key because it features the marriage of John Henry Irons, we know as Steel. And I didn't know this. He's marrying Lana Lang.
Who knew?
Superman's like, you can have her. It's a 48-page one-shot that sets up future stories within the Superman universe. So this is actually going to be a good book to pick up if you want to continuously read other stories that are to follow. What's your thoughts?
Well, I'm probably going to get those second and third covers. I love that Jang cover. It's really great.
Yeah, he did a great job with that Lobo. I'm excited for that one. I'm definitely getting that thing. And when I see John Jang, sir, would you please kindly sign this book for me? Because you know how I feel about Lobo.
Yeah.
Next book is Superman Day Special Editions. As I mentioned, Superman will have a series of books from All-Star Superman, Superman for All Seasons. Those are going to be free copies. Another one that's going to be free has got to be that Jimmy Olsen Super Encyclopedia. I'm curious about that one, but they're all going to be free giveaway books. Action Comics #1, however, they're going to be doing the facsimiles, but they're also going to be homages like the Dan Mora homage that you see there. There's going to also be a blank version of Action Comics #1, and they're going to be printed out in the classic Golden Age style. So they're going to be bigger than your standard comic, but they're going to be Golden Age formatted.
Yeah, and I have the 3, just not the Dan Mora one yet. So I'll be looking for that one on Wednesday.
Cool. Okay. Also celebrating anniversaries, Wolverine with his 400th issue, Wolverine #8. We're going to have a couple of cool things going on with Wolverine. And this one's going to also have several first appearances as well in the story. There's a Martin Coca-Cola cover. That is cover A. But be on the lookout for the Daniel Warren Johnson cover, as well as Daniel Warren Johnson is doing a story in the book. Finally, the Simon Bianchi cover is pretty much a key because it's going to feature this new character that's coming from the storyline. I forgot the name of the character, but
Oh, Adamantine.
no, it's not Adamant. It's a different character.
Okay.
I don't remember off the top of my head, but it is going to be another character that you can see him in the cover. He's kind of like a Wolverine from the future type of thing, like an older version of a Wolverine. So that's going to be something to look after for. So be on the lookout for that book.
Look at that Daniel Warren Johnson cover. It's awesome.
It's crazy, right?
So good.
So let me see. Romulus. That's the name of the character. So be on the lookout for that book. That might be one that people are going to hunt out for. Okay. All right. Our next book is Absolute Flash #2. This is the Nick Robles cover A. There's also the Andrew McLean cover, which is fine. 1 in 50 Hornet Corona cover. Again, I'm not feeling that jacket. I don't know how I feel about it, but it's the introduction of Gorilla Grodd into the Absolute Flash universe. And can Wally West outruns the Rogues?
Yeah, I'll buy it, but this is on a issue by issue, so this could be my last one picking this one up.
Yeah, the first issue I read, and it's fine. It's not anything stellar, but I'm more curious to see what happened to Barry Allen.
Yeah.
That's what I'm more interested in. Okay. Then we have Superior Avengers #1. This is the first team appearance of the Superior Avengers. This book had some heat when this was announced. So we're going to have Onslaught in the story and some other characters as well. So check it out. There's also a Joshua Casaria gallery cover, which I think that's cute. And the 1 in 25 Alessandro Capuccio cover as well that features the characters in the book.
I love that middle one. It's so funny.
It is funny. So what do you think about the Superior Avengers?
So far, there hasn't been too many missteps with all this One World Under Doom. I think there's been one series that I was kind of like, okay, well, I won't be getting this one again. But everything else has been excellent, so I'm looking forward to trying it.
Yeah, it's worth checking out. All right. Next one is Batman Superman World's Finest. This is the start of a new series. Not a new series, a new story arc, which is We Are Yesterday Begins Today. A sinister psychic power of the devious Gorilla Grodd has the Man of Steel and Dark Knight in their sights, but all is not as it seemed to be. You have the Dan Mora cover, you have the 1 in 25 Elizabeth Twart cover, and the Gavin Goodry cover. So I might pick this one up because I'm interested.
Yeah, this one I probably won't. I haven't been getting it for a while. So I'll flip through it maybe and see, but it would have to be Dynamite Inside.
Yeah. Next book is The Web of Venomverse Fresh Brains #1. This features the first appearance. You ready for it? Venom Mouse. I have to pick this up because I'm supposed to be the rat guy, right? In this group.
Yeah, you might have to.
I might have to. But we do have a first appearance of Katie Power bonded with the symbiote, and it's also the first appearance of a new version of Eddie Brock, whatever the heck that's supposed to mean. But
yeah,
you got.
Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to say that's strange because he has his own series with Eddie Brock Carnage right now. So I'm curious to see.
I don't know what to think about it, man. I really don't know. It's making me want to yawn. You got Luciano Vecchio cover. There's also a 1 in 10 design cover with the Venom Mouse, which I kind of like the way he looks, though. I'm not going to lie. And then you have the Derek Chew cover, which is, that thing looks crazy, that cover.
Yeah, that's the one I'll get, and maybe the 1 in 10.
Yeah. All right. Our indie key of the week is Buried Long, Long Ago #1. This is based off of true events from 1901 to 1908. Belle Gunness lured dozens of lonely men to her Indiana farm and savagely murdered them for their money. Because Belle managed to avoid capture and face trial, much of this story remains untold until now. This is a fairy tale retelling of her brutal crimes from a perspective of her 3 young children, who soon discover there's something far worse and far more evil than their mother on the farm, something buried long, long ago. This is a story done by Anthony Cleveland with art by Alex Cormack, but it features the letters of our good friend Justin Birch. So
Oh.
I'm willing to pick this up just because of Justin Birch, and you have a really great Colin Dorian cover as well.
That's really cool. Yeah, well, I'll definitely give this one a try then.
Yeah, so it's definitely check it out. It's from Mad Cave Studios, which they always do some great stories, but I want to give love to my boy Justin, so I did mention it today. I was like, hey, tell me what you think about this book. He says it's pretty good. All right. Now let's take a look at some eye-catching variants, starting with Ultimate Wolverine #4, the David Aja cover, which is pretty much a mirror match of the original one that we've seen, but it's in that black and white and red colors, which I really dig.
Yeah, it does look sharp.
Wolverine #8, the Jerome Opeña cover, which I like it a lot. It almost looks like a toy, an action figure, doesn't it?
Yeah.
All right. Then you have Godzilla versus Hulk, the #1, the 1 in 100 Stonehouse cover. Who's gonna win that battle?
The green one.
The green one. It's not the only Godzilla versus Hulk, because you got the Lee Garbett versus cover, which I love. Excuse me. I love that cover. Also, Star Wars Legacy of Vader #3, Stephanie Hahn's cover. That's nice. That's a really nice cover. There's also another one that's really cool. And David Nakayama has a Star Wars facsimile coming out this week. The Jerry Orwell's facsimile was also a hot book that came out last week. So who's to say this one's not going to be the same thing? There's some other covers that are out there for Star Wars as well. So be on the lookout for those. Then you have Detective Comics 1096, the 1 in 25 Ashley Woods cover. I like that one out. Detective Comics 1096, the Derek Chew cover. Shane, you picked this book out. Is there a significant reason for this one?
So it's supposed to be where we're going to find out who Asma or something. I can't remember. I don't know how to say it exactly, but the main villain that's been going on is supposedly going to be revealed in this issue.
Okay. All right. Thanks. And Absolute Flash #2, the Christian Ward cover. I think that's a nice cover itself with the lightning bolt going in. Then we have Wonder Woman 20. This is actually a start of another story. Gillian March's cover. I know you picked one, a David Nakayama one, but I saw this one. I was like, oh no, this one's better.
Yeah, they're both really good.
Yeah, it's really good. And New Gods #5, Nicola Scott. She did a wonderful cover right there. Look at that.
That's really great too.
Yep. And then Satana #3, the 1 in 25 A.L. Kaplan cover. Another banger of a cover. I'm really digging that one a lot. And then to wrap things up, we got G.I. Joe Real American Hero, the Silent Mission Edition 21. This is the Sajah Shah cover, which is a PCB hobby cover. Who doesn't like Snake Eyes? Right?
That's a nice cover.
Yep. And there's the G.I. Joe Real American Hero Spirit, the 1 in 25 Jorge Fornes cover. There's the J. And of course, we have to throw in Thundercats #14, Mark Spears. Apparently was delayed. It should be coming out this week. And there you have it, guys. Those are your new comic books for this week. Anything good for there? Good there, Shane?
Oh, I can't wait to see that Daniel Warren Johnson Wolverine cover in person.
That's probably going to walk out the door fast.
Yeah, it's like an instant, to me, it's like an instant classic cover. Like, it just looks great.
Yep. I'm going to be looking out for that one. I'm going to be looking out for that Lobo, of course, John Lobo, and some other books. The Wolverine books I'm very interested in, as well as some of those covers. So I do have some already pre-ordered. I don't even remember which ones I have pre-ordered, but I do have some pre-order. But go check them out. Go to your comic book shops, get your comic books this week. Until then, we'll see you for next week's new comic book run. We did it. We did it. Guys, thank you for watching. Really do appreciate it. I'm getting a bit of a headache right now. You know that? So I need a break. But just to remind everybody, make sure you go check out some of the videos that are coming out this week. Again, tomorrow at 11:30, I will be releasing to everyone the Cosmic Con Year of Superman panel. It's a pretty fun panel. Also, if you haven't had a chance to check it out, we got the CovrPrice Top 10 Rewind. This time I'm going over April 2023. If you haven't checked that out, go check it out over at CovrPrice. And of course, the replays will be out all week. So be on the lookout for the replays. Until then, Shane, where can people find you?
YouTube, Instagram. I just put in the chat a link to the Comic Vets unboxing video, which, spoiler, I'm in. So check that out because it leads directly into I'm going to say that it's epic unboxing of 45 slabs that I just got back. So there's some wicked good stuff in there and a little bit of crying moments, but for the most part, it's that. So watch for that. It's still uploading. So my version is anyway, but the Comic Vets is there. So go watch that. And then that'll lead you right to mine, which whenever it uploads, it'll be out. So watch for that. And yeah,
awesome.
Thanks again, Izzy.
Oh, K-Pop just popped in right now. What's up, K-Pop? We're about to wrap things up, but thanks for stopping by just for a quick second. Yeah, guys, go check out the videos. The replays are coming in. I would greatly appreciate if you leave a comment on the videos. Go leave a thumbs up, even if you watch it just for a few minutes. It really helps out the channel, helps grow the channel. We're working really hard for this channel. I'm doing a lot of work for this channel, and I hope you enjoy it. So until next time, guys, thank you for watching.
I think this is it. I think you're about to go home. Okay. Thank you.
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 Oh, thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I never said thank you.
And you'll never have to.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I guess I'll see you.